Welcome to FarmRPG, Bellogan here. Today we're talking about updates to the workshop and an update to the perk tier list. So to start with, the workshop received some impressive quality of life updates recently. You can now mark items as favorites, so they show up at the top of your list, and also continues to show those items whether you have the needed materials for those or not, so that you can see what you are missing to craft them. So let's show what that looks like really quick. If I come home and then to my workshop, you can see I have my fishing nets, my rope, my sturdy shields, and my twine all set here as favorites, and so they always show up. So my rope right now, my inventory is full because I am out of antlers, and you can see also that I've got my twine and rope and sturdy shields all in here. Those are the things that I am crafting the most often during the game. Other items still show up underneath when you no longer have items for them. They no longer show up in the list. So that is a feature added by being listed as your favorite. Now let's talk about the new perks that have been added in the updates. So one of them is my new favorite one. Yes, I'm sure this is a huge quality of life perk. Let's show really quickly. What it does is it removes the confirmation from crafting so that you have one extra click to craft everything. It also has the same impact for using fishing nets and lemonade. So if I come back to my crafting menu into workshop and I want to create a shield, I just click on that 450 silver and that's it. And I make a new shield. So now I've got 2, now I've got 3, now I've got 4. What this does is it makes it so you no longer have to try to line up on your phone or on the computer and get the window just the right size so that you don't have to move your mouse or your finger to click craft and then OK over and over again. It's going to stay where it's at and you lose that confirmation window. So it's much, much faster. I'm out of lemonade for today, but I can show you fishing nets as well. If we click on go fishing, we'll come down here to Lake Minerva and throw a fishing net out here. And you see I instantly get my fish pop up that I've caught. I don't have to click, yes, I want to use a fishing net. And we've caught 15 fish. We'll just sell those off for about 89k silver, which is pretty typical per net that we get here. The same thing applies with lemonade. When you click on a lemonade, it just fills that window with all of the items that you found while exploring without a confirmation if you want to drink the lemonade. So it makes it so you can burn through all your lemonade very, very quickly now. Under a minute, I can go through 100 lemonade and it is fabulous. So one of my new favorite perks. So how does that line up when we reorder our perk tier list? Well, let's come over here. Before I get to that, because that's a farm supply list, we're going to come to the perk tier list for perks that you buy with skill points. There were a few new ones here since we've last looked at this list, and now I've sorted this by how I've ranked them in tier as opposed to the order that they appear in the menu. So really the new ones in the list are Please Recycle and Forester. Please Recycle gives you a 10% chance to not use your glass when drinking, and so that goes back into your inventory. I put that at tier 2. It's nice because it cuts down on the need to make a glass so frequently, or glass bottles. And then Forester gives you 5% more fruit daily from your trees. This one is really nice as well, especially once you've hit your limit of 500 of each type of tree. So it's pretty late game. This isn't one you need to worry about early on. Same thing with Please Recycle 1 early on. You don't need to worry about them early on, but late game they become very, very nice. So you notice this is 1 and 2. There are counterparts to these in 3 and 4. The other change that I made in this list, when you look at the primers, I have kind of tier 3 as the fishing, crafting, and farming primers to give 10% more experience. I did bump up the exploring primer to tier 2, and primarily I did that because with the stamina efficiency update, having this perk gives you even more bonus experience on top of that. And there's a whole video talking about that on stamina effectiveness. But that's why I bumped the particular exploring primer above the other ones. Get that when you can. Also, exploring is the slowest skill to train right now of the 3. Initially, crafting starts off slow, but once it takes off, it'll be the first one you get to 99. Exploring will be probably your last one. All right, and let's look at the farm supply list. How is this shaken out? I've done the same thing here, or I've sorted it by tier. Now, I did sort out my quality of life separately, and I put those as tier 1 and tier 2 from the other perks that more impact gameplay directly. So the big thing here is that, yes, I'm sure I put this in as quality of life tier 1, even though it speeds up how fast you can do things, like most of these do. The only one I really put as tier 2 is the fish supplier, where you sell all fish from your fishing menu. if you have one you don't need to get, throw that out there. Other than that though, this perk came in as quality of life tier 1, probably my favorite. But if you're not doing a lot of crafting yet and you're not using a lot of nets or you're drinking a lot of OJ, you can hold off on getting this one for a little bit. So some of the other ones that were new, the grape juice pitcher, put that in as tier 2. It's pretty nice, but again, you don't need it early game. Take some time until it really kicks in. So then things like cellar insulation and fancy bottle and your savings account, we talked about in one of our previous videos, 4 new perks that just increase the cap. These are all nice, but you don't need them early on. You can hold off and wait to get these because cellar insulation is retroactive. You can wait till your 135th day of wine and turn it on, and instantly your wine's all gonna hit its cap. So there's not a rush to really get it. Likewise with fancy bottle 6 million cap, there's not a reason to get this until your wine is nearing that point. Bank saver, you may hit the point where bank saver cap going up to 6 million is worth it a little bit sooner, but I still kind of put it in that same list. If you don't have enough money just sitting in the bank you aren't using to even hit the 5 million cap, don't worry about the perk for the 6 million cap. Now you'll notice that these are all using a lot of gold, and some of them are relatively expensive as far as gold is concerned, but the state of the game, if you look at it with item mastery and with the number of new quests coming in that give gold, there's actually over 2,000 gold available in the game you can get right now for free without paying a cent. So even though these cost a little bit, really by the time you get to where some of these more expensive ones will kick in, you probably are going to have enough gold to get it without having spent money just from playing the game and continuing on. Now, a lot of people always ask me in comments, can you please link these sheets to the game? I don't want to put a link to my full spreadsheet on just because I'm always tweaking this. I also like things as much as possible to be in-game. So if you notice, there is now a library page for the perk tier list by Belligan. So here is all that information. I will do my best to keep this up to date when I update my tier list with my notes. I've got, I don't have a color coding in here I have in the spreadsheet, but I do have it linked here with the notes off to the side. If you want to know where to get to it from the library home, this is now going to be under player guides. We've got video tutorials, the item lists, and then you've got my perk tier list by Belligan. So again, this is entirely my opinion. I put this disclaimer in here. It shouldn't be taken as law, optimal, or the only way to play. It's just advice from someone who's been around a little bit, as a player who's been around from near the beginning of the game, what I think is worth it. Your experience may be very different, and that's totally cool. If so, feel free to let me know in the notes. Tell me what you think these should be or how things should be rearranged. All right, there we have it. Some great quality of life updates to FarmRPG. Hopefully you found this useful. As always, thanks for watching.